Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Sorry I'm late today. Had a lot going on. Anyway, guys, what we're going to talk about today, I think I'm sure you all saw it in the chat. How is everyone? So, um, we're going to talk about, and I have my notes here. Um, like at some point, all women begin receiving messages that certain possibilities for them are no longer meant for them. And usually it becomes around a certain age, that kind of thing. And so I just want to talk about that um, for a minute because I think a lot of times we get stifled. We get stifled, even though, I'm hoping that you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, which we get stifled even though we know that it's not that we don't think we can do it, but it's just how society puts us in a certain bucket, and and we feel like we just can't do it, but of course that's not true. um, so did anybody get a chance to take the um, oh, good, I'm so glad you made it. Did anybody get a chance to take the survey that I had put up in the community section? Um, so if you did, put it in the chat for me. Let me know. I saw that some people had read it. Um, so the question I want to ask is tonight, and this is pertaining to all of us, as you get older. Um, we're talking about every part of you. Say you had a dream that you wanted to do something in the past, and it does. I'm not just talking about like relationships or career or anything like that. It can be a big dream that you've had, but for some reason people have talked you out of it after a certain age. And as I have put in the comment section, um, oh, that's okay. Which you said you seen the post but didn't get to it. Okay, that's okay. So we're just going to talk a little more about things. Um, uh, anyway, sometimes, um, like I said, it was in my 20s, when I was in my 20s, that I got the message just from people around me that it was time for me to sit down. And when I look back at it, it's the people that were saying this to me or making me feel bad because I was ambitious and I still had things that I had to do and I was going to do them. Um, those were people who let someone stifle their dreams. So therefore, they felt that at a certain age, and this was told to me, even though I was in my 20s, you need to stop, sit down, and let the younger people do it. And I'm thinking, who are the younger people, But and I've heard that, like pretty much my whole life. So it doesn't even have to start when you're um, in your in your 50s, in your 20s. It can start in your 50s, your 60s. People are still telling you the same thing. But who says when who's saying that to us, and why are they saying that to us? I think that's the first thing that we have to figure out. So it could be any part of your life that someone tried to tell you that, and maybe, just maybe, you listened. Maybe you listened, and now you're like, okay, um, you listened, and now you're like, okay, I should have done that. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal. It's still not too late. It's still not too late to do what it is that you need to do. Um, so by the end of tonight's conversation, I want you to name one thing, put it in the chat for me, and you don't have to do it right away, but think about it. One thing that you quietly gave up, and recognize the voice that told you that it was time for you to give it up. Now, it could have been you. It could have been that voice in your head that said, um, give it up. So it maybe it didn't have to be anyone else, but sometimes I think that society implies, or society just has made this big um, declaration that we should be invisible at some point. We are no longer needed, unless it's for everybody else's purpose. Other words, you're done. But think about this. Even though people say that, the first parts of your life, maybe you were raising kids. You know what I'm saying? And then when you got to be, 40 years old, or depending on when you started having your children, 45 or whatever, this is when people are really starting to tell you, you need to sit down, give it up. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that, and that kind of thing. So, um, let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the chat if anything like this has happened to you in the past, and how you have handled it. In my particular case, I didn't pay any attention because I couldn't figure out where this was coming from. But as I got older, I figured out that these people that were saying this to me were people that let their dreams go, and they felt that I should do the same. Um, if this conversation, guys, is already touching you and you're feeling something about it, at least give me a like, please, and let me know that you're resonating with it. Um, so you may have told that you would directly, you're too old for that, or you missed your chance, or be realistic. What are you doing? That kind of thing. All those kinds of things happen. But sometimes, people don't have to say those exact words, but you can feel it. It's their silence when you're doing something. It's their silence that you feel. And we can feel those things, especially if you're very intuitive, and I'm one of those people. Um, then that, what they're thinking about you. And of course, it can come from your family. A lot of times, mine has come from my family, and they become accustomed to you being available, which says, "Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday, sissy! You are 62. Wow! Congratulations! I think that's congratulations. You know what I'm saying? So, um, that's really good. That I think when we make it so far, I think we should be celebrating that. I hope you're celebrating. I hope you're celebrating, because that's a good thing. I have a birthday coming up in September, and I will be 73. So, but those kinds of things still mess with you right now, because even though, like, now I have this YouTube channel, and people think, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? But I've always been an ambitious person, and I just keep doing things. There's no point in stopping your life, or stopping living the life you want to live, just because somebody else feels like it's not attainable for them. So therefore, they want you to feel the same way. Um, so if somebody made you feel that way, or delivered that message to you, put it in the comments for me so I can see who did it. Okay, which says, also, even though my manager treats me relatively good, she applies the rule of certain things to me more than other people. Wow. Yeah. See, they imply it. They make assumptions too. Have you ever had an assumption made about you, like, You shouldn't be, why are you wearing that? Do you know how old you are? You shouldn't be wearing that. That kind of thing. And it doesn't have to, they don't even have to say it loudly to you, but the fact that they may look at you, give you a certain kind of stare or something like that, and then you know what they're thinking. But, you know, to me, that is their problem. That is their problem. So let's just see what else we have here. So, what I would like to know, guys, is what did you stop wanting? What did you stop wanting in your life? And say it out loud. What was one thing that you stopped wanting just because people made you feel like you shouldn't want it? Put that. Okay. I'm reading your chat. I'm reading your what you're saying here, which you said you can work and work, and if you take your phone out for a minute, she makes slight remarks, but other people can be on the phone for several minutes, and I've been working and working. Wow. So do you think she's doing that because she why do you think she's doing that to you? First of all, do you think it's because, are all the most of the people where you work, are they younger? Is that what it is? Because I've seen that happen to people before too. And you're saying it's a little thing, but it's starting to be obvious. Okay. Well, little things add up. Little things do add up. So for some of us, desires genuinely end. Some people are like, okay, I really, I'm not interested in doing that any longer. But there are some people that they still want to do certain things, um, but they let the people around them stop them from doing it. Um, So it's really about you giving yourself permission to do what it is that you feel like you want to do, and not let other people dictate how you should do things, what you should feel about your life, because, it's your life. And some people, and I believe this happens too, some women have become so practiced at denying themselves that you know, they call it maturity. This is why I'm not doing this, because I'm just too old. But you're just so used to denying yourself because um, you think that that's just the way it should be. So you think of it as you're just accepting life. You're just accepting life the way it is. And I always hear this thing. People say, well, you should just age gracefully. Well, what does that mean? I mean, you're going to age anyway, but I mean, it does. Is there a certain way that you should do that? A certain look that you should have because you're aging? Sissy says, I basically got tired of all the BS people bring, so I pushed them all away. I had a part-time job where certain people got away goofing around, and when I asked to take a break, I got the eye rolls. Wow. and which says, I feel that I don't even really take a break hardly ever, but others get to, and I work, but I can't even when she's around, I can't look at my phone without a comment. Wow. Yeah, see that's sometimes there's people, I don't know. There's a whole lot I could say on that, but I won't say it because I'm on YouTube. But there's a whole lot that I could say on something like that. Um, let's see what else is in my notes here. So what about a desire that you've had and you've abandoned it? You've abandoned it. So when you continually suppress something that matters to you, it does not always disappear peacefully. Sometimes it becomes restless, and sometimes it becomes like resentment towards the people who you spend your life serving, because at a certain point, that's what happens. I won't even say at a certain point, because we're always serving people. If we're just serving, if you're a young mother and you're serving your children, you're serving people. If you get to be a certain age and you gotta, take care of your parents, you're serving people. Um, so it's like you have a lifetime of servitude, but then it makes you feel like this is just what you're supposed to do. And that's fine if you feel like that's what you want to do. But, and then I just got through, and this is another thing I was thinking about. Sometimes those people that tell you what you shouldn't do and when you shouldn't do it is because secretly they're irritated because they didn't do it. So, you know, that's something you have to realize. Um, and sometimes you become numb to the whole idea. Just as women, sometimes we do. We just become numb to the whole idea of, we should be doing what we need to do because we're so used to. Um, oh, guys, my wind is picking up so heavily here. I may need to get up and close some windows. Um, but we're so used to just doing what everybody else wants us to do that we become numb to our own life, and you stop asking what you want because asking will force you to confront how long you've gone without what you've wanted. So, and sometimes when these people are looking at you, like have you ever watched another woman do something and immediately thought, I could have done that. I could have done that. And it's not that it's jealousy, it just may be recognition that you could have done it. Um, so sometimes you become restless, but the thing you have to think about is this regret? Is it resentment? Is it sadness? Is this what you're feeling? Or have you become so disconnected from it, whatever that dream was, that you no longer know what you don't know what you want anymore, you know? So that happens. Oh, Sissy says she's learning to let go. Okay, good. Good. But do you let go, Sissy, because you feel like I just said numb about what's happening, or are you letting go because you want to let go? That's the question. Do you want to let go? Oh, you might be talking about something else. Um, you might be thinking of something. You might be talking about something else. I'm just looking in the chat as we go along here. You let go because you wanted to. Okay. See, that's good. If that's what you wanted to do, then that's the way to do it. But not because somebody, told you that you should or whatever, it's because you want to do it. I feel like I need some more light. Let me turn another light on, guys. Be right back. Seems like it's getting dark. I think we may be coming up on a storm or something. It's getting darker than what it would normally be. So, in which says I'm letting him go because I want to as well, but also I'm dealing with loss of energy physically and mentally, but I feel good spiritually. But if I feel, but you feel drained. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, sometimes, sometimes it's a person in your life that you just, not him, I just meant in general letting go. Text, yeah, yeah, it does that. It puts in there what it thinks that you want to say. But sometimes it is people in our lives that we need to let go. I'm like Medea now. No one tells me what to do, especially when they are young. Exactly, exactly. That's the way to think about it because, and it's not that young people don't know anything, but you've got the experience. You've lived um, so long and that kind of thing. Okay, I got to close the window, guys. Right back. Be right back. This is crazy. It looks like we're going to have a big storm. Okay, does anybody have any questions about what we just talked about? As you guys, you may have noticed, those of you that have been here with me for a while, and the both of you have, I know, that my channel, I'm changing my channel. Um, I really want to help us as women um, do what we need to do for ourselves and remember who we were before, life took over and we were doing things for other people and you kind of forgotten yourself, put yourself to the side, and you know, at some point you have to be happy and come back to you. So you say that's a good thing. Good. I'm glad you like it. Um, some things can be so draining and we don't even know it that it's draining to us until we're so far gone into it that, and I'm just speaking about the things that are going on around us, that's been going on for years, and we want things to be one way, and it's, you, to me, at some point, we have to take our lives into our own hands, and let the rest of it go. Some things we have no control over, and the system that we live under, the only thing that we can do, I mean, we can protest, we can do all that, but we can vote. There are things we can do to get outcomes that we want, but then we can only go so far. And the thing about it is that I think that sometimes people do things to make us, to irritate us, because that's another form of control. That's another form of control. And when you think about it, if you can control the women, you can control everything, because you know there's more women in the world than there are men. And actually, well, I shouldn't say that. Um, I don't even know how to put this, I don't know how to word this without offending people, but women are very smart. Women are very smart. The thing is that we don't get the opportunity to, you know, show how smart we are, because, you know, men have the strength, and they think that, the physical strength, and they think that that's more important than the mental strength that women have for the most part. Men are stronger, they're built bigger, all that, but mentally we have, we are better situated. I'll put it that way. Because first of all, we bring the people into the world, so therefore we're more nurturing. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think, like if we look at it right now, all the women that have lost their jobs because of the way that society is going right now today. So many women have lost jobs and that kind of thing. Or if you're in a job, you got to put up with a bunch of mess, just like you guys are just talking about. You got to deal with all that, and that's because usually, and it's not even. You can be working for a woman. It doesn't matter, because most of the time she's got to be like that male figure and be very dominant and that kind of thing. And this is why I think what's being nurtured in now is that feminine energy that I always talk about. And but the control is, yeah, to get the women out the workforce, to make them, to me, this is my opinion, get them out of the workforce, to and give those positions to the men, because the men are controlling whatever's left. you know they control that, they control us, they control the world. And I'm not saying that all men feel that way, but I mean that's the dominant thought process, that we see happening all the time. you know and that's another thing with how society looks at us as we get older. A man can get older, but he can still do all those things. A woman gets older, sit your butt down, shut up, go, go in the kitchen, whatever, you know, um, take care of the grandkids, which is nothing wrong with that. I love my grandkids, so. Um, but you have there's specific jobs that's already been made for you, specific um, positions that you're already put into. Before you can say anything, this is what you need to do. You know, and I was just looking at, guys. I don't know if you know about Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown was the makeup artist, and I was reading something about her the other day, which made me think about this topic, really. She she started her company. Well, she started doing things when she was like, just out of college, 22 or something like that. And she started her company, she was in her 20s. So when she got into her 30s, they Lancome offered her a position, or bought her company out. I should put it that way. They bought her company out, and she said to her, they said to her, for 30 years, you can't, she couldn't use her name as, or even compete with them, because she sold the company to them, but they kept the name. So she had to sign this no compete, whatever. And so I think in like 20, 15 or something, or somewhere in there. It's been recent. Um, the 30 years were up, and she's like 68 years old right now. She restarted another brand, and she said that that she thought at that time, because she was so young and they were buying her out and all that, that she wouldn't want to do it. But she said as soon as that contract was over, the next day she put out her new brand, and it's called something else, Jones something. But can you imagine at 68 she's just starting a new brand? And this is what I'm saying about us. Sometimes we put off things, and then we think you get so old you just can't do it anymore at all, and that's not true. But and I see her all over the place, like all over TikTok and that kind of thing, and she's showing you what she's doing and all that, and she looks good. And I think sometimes when we just sit down and don't do what we feel like we need to do, um, we become complacent, we become regretful, resentful, and it shows. It shows on our body and our face, because we're not happy. We want to do something else. There's something else that we need to be doing that we just have given up on. So, Sissy says, I find that I am now older, retired, disabled, but enjoy working part-time. I am happier when I can spend some time for spiritual healing, trying to be a better person, because we live in a very hateful, very hateful times. And I think, that's true. That's true. And as long as you can do something, Sissy, as long as you can do something, whatever it is, because I don't think that, I mean, okay, so you're disabled and you're retired, but just your mind is still good. So use it. That's how I see it. Use it. So yeah, and there's so many things going on now that it just makes it harder for us as women. Um, but sometimes, and I need to say this, sometimes the reason that we don't do things that we want to do, or we let opportunities pass us by, is because people say you can't do that, or you may think that people think that you're being foolish, or you're like, well, what would my family say if I do that, or why bother even starting? It's so late. But that's just something that's going on in your mind. And really, if somebody says something like that to you, just say, I don't care. I don't care. That's your problem. I don't care what you think. you know. So, and then I have to say this, after what happened to me with my burn and that kind of thing, it was like, okay, now everybody was telling me, you should just sit down. You shouldn't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't cook anymore. What? You don't even have to clean. Like, what? People say that some of the things to you that, okay, well, maybe I'm having a hard time doing it right now, but I'm not giving up on doing the things that I enjoy, especially not going to give up on not cleaning my house. I mean, yeah, there was like months that, I couldn't do things. And, but I just looked at those people that would say something like that to me. It was like, even that, just give up, But the thing about it is, the longer I sat around, it was like the weaker I got. And I thought, well, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I need to get back to doing what I've been doing. And, slowly I've come back. And I think that sometimes things happen in our lives that change our trajectory. And this is kind of what happened with me in a sense, because I felt like, if you've been with me, you know already that I have said that, this thing that I'm reading on every day, it's just not in our control. And I've said that to you guys. Um, and I've said that Spirit kept saying, be patient. So I started even before this, you know, the burn happened to me, to change things. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, I'm doing people a disservice. I'm doing women a disservice. So whoever is listening to me, if I'm going to continue to spew out, not spew out, you know, I love my tarot. I still do it. But I just felt like I wasn't doing my part in helping the situation, and I had to change some things up. And this is where Spirit has led me, to help women remember who they are. Because when women remember who they are, when we remember who we are, it's hard for other people to take advantage or to put us on a thought process that does not work for us. And we're able to, when we sit down and think about it, we're able to decipher what's really going on underneath all of the mess that we're dealing with. What's really going on underneath all of this, and how is it affecting me? You know what I'm saying? Because it's always been a thing where you just need to sit down. They used to have that saying, stay in the kitchen, barefoot in the kitchen, and all that kind of stuff. Well, um, I mean, nobody ever told me that, but what I'm saying is there was always that saying. And this is one of the reasons why, and I think about, Roe v. Wade. Why? Why? I mean, nobody is saying, I'm not saying if I'm for it or I'm against it, but when a woman has to decide to keep something that she doesn't want, even though, she was taken advantage of, or your health comes into play, what are we talking about? Why are these kinds of things happening at this time? That's what I'm saying. We need to look underneath, and we need to take care of ourselves. I was going to say take our power back, but we never lost our power. Maybe we're using it in a different way. Maybe we have just sat back and watched things happen, is what I mean to say. Instead of doing what we need to do to stay who we truly are and not who someone else sees us as being. So, I see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, you said also you can get better, like you're saying, but also are they offering to come and cook and clean? You got that right. You got that right, girl. No, no. Nobody's offering to do that. But the thing about it is, if I was, you know, um, if I was, and well, I was for a while, for a couple of months, I was in the bed. I couldn't do anything. I really couldn't, because I couldn't move my arm. The graft where they took the graft from my thigh, where they, all that bothered me, and it's still not healed, guys. I can tell you, it's still not healed. But I do know they said a year or more, maybe two. So third degree. Here's the deal with third degree burns that people might not know. They are really serious, and it's deep. And the only thing that keeps you from having the worst, like a fourth degree, I think is about the worst. The fourth degree gets to the bone. But then you got all these layers that's got to build back up, and that's what's happening with me. That's why it's still sore. But the thing that I recognize too, I was telling my husband today, I couldn't stand in my kitchen for 10 minutes when, I'll say maybe 4 months after this happened, and I couldn't stand long enough because I didn't have the energy. Now I can go in there and I do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, if you listen to everything that somebody tells you, you can end up being in worse shape because they're looking at you like, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And, you can really lose your strength and your power and all that that goes along with it because they're telling you what you shouldn't do. Well, um, if the doctor had said that, that would be a different story. But, they were saying, I do need to, you know, do the therapy and work myself out and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that it was draining at first, and we all go through different things in our lives that changes things. Changes how we did things before. Doesn't mean that we can't do them now. It may take you a little bit longer to do it, but you can still do it. So why should you stop? And you're right. One of the things my daughter said to me, yeah, they don't want you to clean, and then when they come to your house and it's not clean, they're going to talk about you. I said, you're right. You're right. you know. So anyway, hire me a maid. I'll, I will not. If somebody wants to be the maid and pay for the maid and come in and do the cooking and the cleaning, although I like to do my own cooking, then fine. But other than that, I, you know, I'm not ready for that. Um, let's see. Which says, yes, if you would give up completely, you'd be really in bad shape right now. Thank you, Mary, for being strong for yourself. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I would be in bad shape right now. I could do that. I could just sit down and do anything. I mean, I could be lazy, but what good is that doing me? You know? Um, yes, and not only that, it's going beyond the typical, yeah, abortion stance. It's even beyond the basics, which that's important, but it's also forcing, yeah, unviable pregnancies and things like that, you know. And the thing about it is, you know, of course we want our children and all that, you know, for those of us who want our children. But when you come down to it, sometimes things happen and you just can't. I know somebody that had a couple of children and almost died from it, and so what if this person decided to have, or it just happened that she got pregnant, and the doctors have already told you that you can't, it's not good for you, but the government is going to make you go through it anyway. That's, that's where they get into your business. And that's another thing of taking advantage of women. Just because you're stronger and more powerful in a sense, but you use that power in the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You said, for example, carrying what is pronounced dead that's being forced to carry it is that is definitely not nothing but control. Right. Why would somebody do that to someone? I mean, that's just crazy. And if there's nothing, when it all comes down to it, you're not going to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? They claim that it's protecting children. I don't know about that. Okay, you say Rocassa cream. I don't know what that is, Sissy. What is that? Rocasa, Rocasa cream. You got to explain that. Um, so you say my mom lost one before me. She had to have a believe what they call a DNC, and that's considered in an abortion. And then when she was carrying me, she believed that she also lost another. Oh, like maybe a twin, like maybe you had a twin. Hmm. Hi, Neek. Wow, it's been a while. Good to see you. Nerve pain cream. Deep muscle cream. Okay, so does that help in the situation with what we've been talking about, Sissy? Um, we've gotten off track here a little bit, so I'm looking at my notes. Um, so let's think about it as a woman. What if you knew, yeah, a twin? Oh, hey Christine, how are you? Good to see you too. Oh, for my burns. So is that something that I can just buy? Cause I got a lot of scarring and stuff under. I got a lot of scarring under there and stuff, but it's still sore. Is that something I can buy like over the counter? So I'm gonna write it down. Never heard of it. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. She wouldn't have been able to have you probably. Yeah, I was speaking about my arm. Rocassa nerve cream and muscle cream online. Okay. Okay. You said her DMU. Okay. 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 Yeah, it's taken a while to get back, but I'm getting there. Starting to try to get back into my regular working out, walking, all that kind of stuff. So, um, but it takes a minute when something like that happens, and um, well, we were talking about how there people control our lives and that kind of thing as women. But getting back to what we were talking about, if there's something that you wanted to do, doesn't matter your age, and at some point you can, if you still feel that you need to do it, you can reclaim it. You can do it. I'm not saying that you're going to be a ballerina, or I mean within reason. Like, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Um, but you could, you know, play around with it, I guess, if that's what you wanted to do, although you're not going to be. I mean, I shouldn't even say that because sometimes, who was this I was reading about? She was 90 years old. She was doing something great. I don't know, these things come across my feed, and I'm like, oh, you know. Um, did she have her own channel or something? I can't remember. But she was doing some. She was a sharp lady, mentally and everything, and she was doing what she wanted to do. I wish I could think of what it was she was doing exactly. But she was 90 years old. I was like, wow. Oh, I didn't know Memphis was in the dark. No, I didn't hear about that. What happened? What happened in Memphis? Let's see. You know I got to check. Tell me what's going on with Memphis, Tennessee. Are they still in the dark, and what caused it? No, I looked it up accordingly online. Thousands are still without electricity. So did they have a big storm or something? Oh wow. Huh. Around 11,000 that's being reported that are, yeah, thunderstorms and winds that don't have light. I heard about something like that in Indiana. Struck Memphis on Saturday, August 22nd, causing major power outages for over 140,000 Memphis light, gas, and water. Oh my God, that's terrible. But you know what? I feel like, and I did a video on it. I feel like Mother Earth is doing her thing. I don't know, like I said, I don't know a lot about astrology, but people are talking about all the planets that are lining up, and different things are happening too. Thunderstorms and wind. Thunderstorm. Uprooted large trees, dropped trees and limbs onto electrical lines, broke utility poles. Oh my God. So are they still in dark? Yes. Parts of Memphis and Shelby County are still without electricity, but most services have been restored. So the most recent count, about 10,960 customers remain without power. So 97% of the customers had electricity. At the storm's peak, more than 140,000 customers lost power. It's because of this thunderstorm. It says one important point. Residents whose weatherhead or meter center was damaged must hire a licensed electrician to repair it before the Memphis, I get it's called MLGW, can reconnect the house. They may leave certain homes without power even after the neighborhood's main lines are repaired. So why do they have to do that? They got to get they got to get their weatherhead or meter centers reconnected before Memphis comes out and services them. That's backwards. Wow. Yeah, some storm just went through here, but I don't hear it now, so I guess it's hopefully it's over. They said that Indiana has been someplace. Is it Gary? I think Gary, Indiana, has been out of. They haven't had power for like 2 weeks. Yeah, they put it on the people to do that. And if it's a lot of people that don't have it, don't you still got to wait on people to come fix that first. And if you're talking about electrician, you got to have some money to pay for. I don't know. I think that's crazy. Yeah, you're right, Christine. I know that's happening. Well, Memphis, um, there's probably more of us there. Um, and they say Gary, Indiana, there is, and they're taking their time about fixing things for them too. So I don't know. Wow. Well, okay. So here's the deal. What about FEMA? Okay, this is when FEMA should kick in. But because of the way things have been going, that may be something that FEMA can't do anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because if that many people were out of power and you got to get your own electrician to come, figure things out. Um, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, Dolly Parton. You know what? It hasn't been that long since her husband passed, right? Maybe in the last year or two, her husband passed. Yeah, no funds for FEMA. Yeah, that's why people are left like this. And I don't know. But you know what makes me think? He thinks that I'm getting on this subject again. When things happen, he can just go down into that place that he wants to, his ballroom. He wants to build that ballroom so if something happens, he can just go down underground and everything's good with him. He's going to have everything down there, you know, that a person could have. Okay, a year and a half ago. Yeah. I know it hadn't been that long. I remember that. Yeah, she did seem like a good person, a genuine good person. She seemed very sweet, you know. So, yeah. I think she was 80 years old, wasn't she? I think. Something like that. So, she did a lot. Oh, okay. She had cancer. Oh, his Dean. Now, see, that puts me in the mind of what's her name? The one that does the cooking. They mentioned it. She let go of some of her medical needs. Oh, Mm. Oh, really? Yeah, you're right, Christine Paula Dean. Um, so she wasn't taking care of herself like she should have. So that's what they're saying. Because every time you saw her, she always seemed in good spirits and everything, you know. But that's sad. What the heck is going on with that man, Christine? Yeah, I think that's, Sissy, I think you're right about that. Um, she probably was. She probably was ready, especially since he was gone already. Oh, okay. Yeah, that happens. And that's something that you know, if it's somebody very close to you like that and they get sick, what else are you going to do? You're going to have to you're going to try to take care of them and make sure everything goes right with them. That's only natural, you know. That man, don't start me to reading on him. I think I did do, didn't I did the I did my pendulum on him one of the readings. Um, but he's, I don't know, what are they going to do next? I mean, how can they, what makes them think that they can just act like everything is fine and nobody's heard from him? That's the part I don't understand. What makes them think that we're people, and that's part of the problem, guys. We're not doing anything. Oh, wow, yeah. That's how that happens sometimes, especially if you've been with somebody a long time, Sissy. Yeah. Yeah, you think it's that way, Sissy? Brain dead? But, and they're just trying to keep him alive? I mean, after so long, people are going to, you know, it seems like the doctors say, well, there's no sense in, you know, keeping them around, or, you know, they give you choices, but maybe that's what it is. They're just going to let him hang out, I guess. Oh, okay. I know. Oh, you have to be so careful. And the thing about of it, a thing about it is too, it's a lot of young kids that are being found like that, Sissy. It's a bunch of young kids that are being found like that. And the society that we live in today, and you really don't know who your friend is, you know, growing up. You think you know, and sometimes, you know, when you're that young, you're naive, you know, you just don't know a lot. So that's another thing, which is sad, but yep, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy out here in these streets. But I think all of that is all of that is about putting fear into people. you know, and that's so that they can get what they want. If you don't, if they figure out one way or another to do it, you know, unfortunately. So he was put in a facility for coma and left on life support. They are doing it, drawing money, stealing it. His wife is on his medical insurance. Huh. So maybe they think he's going to come out of the coma or something? I mean, I guess it's possible. Being propped up. One way or another, he's being propped up like an old hag. Literally, the card was old hag. And showing that he was being used for a puppet. He's talking about declaring a state of emergency. I believe that's how he's going to try to stop them. Oh. He gonna try every trick in the book. What is this for? I mean, a state of emergency because of what emergency? Because of the storms? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen when November rolls around. You know, and maybe he is brain dead, but at this point we know that he can't do his job, right? So they should be looking at somebody that can replace him. What are they? When is his term up? Is his term up in January? I know a lot of people are. Let's see, when is his term up? So when is Mitch McConnell's term up for Senate? It's not like people are going to be voting him in, or at this point. But he might have more time. I don't know. Yeah, January 3rd, 2027. Okay, so which means that he would have to be somehow his name on a ballot, people voting for him to be back in, but you don't even see him. How's that possible? So he's going to be done anyway in January. Oh, Kentucky voters will elect his replacement in November 26th election. McConnell has already announced that he will not seek re-election. So unless he leaves office early, he will remain Kentucky senator. Okay, so he already has said that. That's true. He had already said that he wasn't. I forgot about that. I think they're going to make the grid go down. Oh. Um, I don't think Texas is on the same grid, but they, for the most part they could. I think Texas has its own thing going on. Well, if they did that, just like they tried to stop the vote on J6, they just do it a different day. I mean, oh, I heard something about that, about him not even knowing how to vote. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing. They're trying to do so much. They're trying to do so much to make sure that they stay in power, but it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. Are they saying that right now? They're going to cut off power to the red states. We'd be one of the first to go because we're right under Canada, Michigan. We're right on. That's probably the first thing they would do is cut off Michigan's power. But let's hope that don't happen. Because everybody, I feel you, Mary, they're pushing too hard. It's not going to happen. Yeah, they're thrashing on their deathbed. I believe that. I believe, they know that. But here's the deal. We have to be very careful. I hope our officials are really being careful and not let anything slide and, really be looking under everything and making sure that they got everything. Okay, guys, you heard about, okay, if you guys know what happened with Hakeem Jeffries and what's his name? Uh, Trump's son in law. What's going on with that? They had a meeting or something? Wow. So, do you think it may be? Yeah, Kushner, Jared Kushner. Okay, what is that about? I just heard bits and pieces about it. See, Jeffries is going to mess around. I don't know what they got on Jeffries. I don't know. Because he playing with fire. Okay, you haven't looked into it much, but more and more people are realizing you can't trust even the Democrats, especially the established Democrats. They're going bye bye. That's true. I've always said that. We might think it's just Republicans, but they're in there too because they've been collecting money. They've gotten away with some things, even though we don't hear as much about it because we look at the other side as, well, that's just something they do. But there's some Democrats in there that, that's doing the same thing. Yep. Let's see what the meeting was about. Okay, what was the meeting about between Hakeem Jeffries and Jared Kushner? Let's just see what it says. Not that they know everything, but they probably know more than I know right now because I just heard. But to me, at this point, you don't have any business meeting. You should be trying to, I guess you can't just stop the government, but trying to get your people to vote. They discuss possible bipartisan cooperation in three main areas: housing, immigration, and the high cost of living and affordability. Really? Okay. Why does Kushner care? Well, he might care about housing because they're into real estate. They want to stop, he wants to stop immigration. But why does he care about the high cost of living and affordability? I mean, think about it. I mean, who is he? What can he do about it? What can Kushner do about it? Is he going to give somebody some money? What can he's not legally government anymore. What is he going to do about it? I don't get it. Oh, okay. Mhm. I didn't know that. Okay, you said he refused to support Madami. Um, one of the Democrats said that if we try to remove Orange, we're going to be playing unto his own hands. What do you mean? What do they mean? What do they mean? It's time for him to go. Are they talking about once we get in position or control of the House and Senate, that if they try to remove him, uh, how could that be playing into his own hands? That's what I want to know. How can that be playing into his own hands? He don't want to go. But did he have those 3 impeachments yet, or just 2? How many times has President Trump been impeached? This is one good thing about them, because they can check that out quicker than you can look it up. Twice. Okay. It's supposed to have been 3 times that he got impeached. That's what I read on way back. 3 times. So maybe there's going to be another impeachment. Okay, it says that the Senate, well, we already know that they acquitted him both times. Um, so he got impeached for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, December the 18th, 2019, and then, of course, for a January 6th attack on the Capitol. So they're trying to say that's why they can't do things like 25th Amendment and stuff, just making excuses. Oh, yeah. That's all. But you know why they're making excuses? Because a lot of them are going down too. It's not just him, it's a lot of them. They're going to be following right behind. There's so many of them. Before it's all said and done, it's going to be a lot of people. Not even just the Republicans. It's going to be a good share of Democrats also, because they played the same game. Oh, okay. Al Green just brought new charges recently. Well, I hope this will go somewhere, because him and somebody else in the past have brought charges. They keep bringing charges. No, it's been 2. It's been 2, Christine. It's been 2 times that they've done impeachment, but they haven't followed through. But there's still one more time that's supposed to happen from the readings, from my readings in the past. Um, Still doesn't mean they're going to get rid of him. And if they do, he has the Supreme Court. I mean, what are they going to get rid of him for? Because the Supreme Court, now that you think about it, the Supreme Court gave him all the power to do whatever he wanted to do. So what are they going to do? Impeach him for what? Okay, so he's the one. Yeah, he always does. I don't know about Al Green sometimes either. I mean, I guess he's doing what he's supposed to do, but I don't know. we get to see him. They shine a light on him, and then after a while, you don't hear anything else from him, and then he comes back. It's like he likes this debate. He likes this being in the limelight for a minute. He'll do something, and then, you know, stay on it. You know. Yeah, still loopholes. Even with the Supreme Court, they made it difficult, but they could still get him. There is loopholes, though. Loopholes. Oh, loopholes. Okay, they really messed that line up. There are loopholes, though. Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't believe that. In my personal opinion, guys, you don't have to believe what I believe. I know you know that, but in my personal opinion, we I don't think it's going to be a law. I don't think it's going to be, I hate to say it, an impeachment. I think that's something, in order for them to impeach him really seriously, I mean, I don't even know what it could be. He's already done. He's done everything you can think of. So what is it? What is this impeachment going to be about? What is it that's going to hold up when it comes to the Supreme Court? Because he's going to go to the Supreme Court and they're going to say, okay, he's okay. Leave him alone. Because there's many of them that's caught up in it too. The whole thing is so corrupt. Yep, it weakens the Congress and the Senate. It's just technically possible, but we've got to get over this before we actually have things put in to where we can actually prevent a crazy person to do all this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I think eventually they're going to have to rewrite some things to keep something like this from happening again. Because, I mean, he just, and even with the Supreme Court, see, I don't know how that works, but there's got to be something in the Constitution that holds the Supreme Court responsible when they make bad decisions, when they're doing things that's only going to benefit them. Because that's what's happening right now. We have a few people on there that will vote like they got common sense, and we have those that just want to have their way, and they'll do anything to have their way. Um, so some kind of accountability has got to be in there for the Supreme Court also, because when people leave the court, a lot of times they've left because they have been blackmailed. Somebody already knows something about them, and then they retire, and to keep their name out of the public eye, and we have people racists on the court. A lot of it's just too much. Say something's gonna happen only after it's totally obvious that it's politically viable to turn against him. It's just being politically viable is the thing, yeah. Only good thing to come from this administration is they have been exposed, and the world has a clear understanding of exactly who they are and who the blue and white flag people are, yeah. Yeah, everything's being exposed. But think about it, guys. It's like it's happening around the world with these leaders, these dictators and stuff. That's one thing from what I've heard. The Supreme Court doesn't really have much of an authority. There needs to be something that keeps the Supreme Court in check. Yeah, yeah. They just do whatever they want to do. That's the bottom line. They do whatever they want to do, and they back him. See, this is a bad predicament that we're in, because you can't control the Supreme Court and you can't control him. maybe for another 2 years. Hopefully not that long, but well, I think at the 26th, after the elections and January rolls around and everybody takes their positions, I think things will look different. Let's hope so. Let's hope there's no big upset coming that we're not uh, thinking about. I think it's the rest. It's the reset around the world. That's part of the age of Aquarius. I agree. Is that there's things that is totally resetting the earth and all of this involved. Yeah, I think it's divine. I really do. I think it's divine what's happening right now. That's why it's kind of out of our hands, and that's why um, there's only so much we can do because it's a divine thing. It's not like if it wasn't, it's like we have to go through these all this stuff because if it wasn't, he would have been just like Nixon, impeached and gone because he's already done enough. You know what I'm saying? He is a 34 count felon. Okay? But he got back in office. It's just, yeah. I think it's, yeah, okay. Yeah, for the most part, people are saying it's going to be a blue wave, but you know what? We've heard that before. Not to be a downer, but we've heard that before. You know, I'm feeling like I just got to wait to see what happens because I don't know. I just think that, just like Democrats are strategizing, supposedly, most of them, not all of them, they're strategizing too. And whatever happened to Muskrat? Why haven't we heard anything about him? What is he doing in the background, guys? I mean, what is he doing? Where is he? Why is nobody talking about him? We know they're still friends. Oh, you don't think so, Christine? Really? Or you think it's going to be a while? Maybe you're saying you think it's going to be a while. I think it's going to be generations. I do, at least a couple. Yeah, yeah, I see that. I understand what you're saying too, Witch. But um, yeah, has anybody heard from Muskrat? Yeah, it's going to be a while before we can really see things change. And the thing about it is, we don't need people in office that's going to be just playing around. And well, let's see what the other side is going to say. And forget all that. Forget all that. Just do what you need to do. You already see what's happening. I mean, now we don't want a dictatorship on the other side either. I mean, we do have to be careful. But the Democrats play too much. They play too much. Really? Okay, Christine, tell me why you think that. And you may be right though, because there's always something. Like right now, there's always something. Like with food, you can't even make a good salad anymore. So you could be right about that, but what's the point? More for them? Is that it? I mean, the earth is vast. A lot people can live on the earth. A lot of people can live on the earth. With everything, yeah, cutting health care, messing with the food. They're doing everything. Yeah, that's true, Christine. You know what, and that's probably true what you're saying, but why? I I want. What's the point? Hmm. Yeah, everything's gone up. You're right, but the thing with, like you said, your grandmother, she's probably um, doesn't have so much money coming in, and then things go up, and you can't afford it. You can't afford to go to the doctor, and you need to go to the doctor. A playpen for the top. Yeah, you might be right about that. Yeah, I believe that when the grids go down, people die. And you know what? That's true, because what if you're a diabetic or something? You got to get your blood cleaned 2 or 3 times a week, and the grid is down. I don't know. Do they have? They should have things to. We're in 2026. There should be things that are put in place in case hospital needs certain things and stuff like that. But everything everything is computerized these days. I mean, even cars and that kind of thing. So if you need to get from here to there, maybe depending on what kind of car you got, can you get from here to there? I mean, I don't understand why they would feel the earth is too crowded, though. I guess they do. But you probably have a point there, but they're not living all over the whole earth. And the earth accommodates people. You know, but who tells them that? Who made them God that they could make a decision like that? That there's too many people on earth. I think it's only certain people that they want to get rid of. I'm gonna ask the cards. That's a good question. I think that's a good question. Why? Christine, really? You're saying a lot of hospitals have backup power, but if you can get the one, you might be okay. Get to one, I'm sure you're saying. But uh, then it will be expensive. But most hospitals do have backup power. Yeah. Hmm. So, yeah, that's true, Christine. You're making a lot of good points, Christine. Yeah. So, so, well, you would think, here's the deal. They're not going to live forever. I don't care what they do. Okay, so if that's true, dang, you can't let them near you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people are going to be fighting back. If that's true about the gloves. I haven't heard much about them lately, and I haven't heard much about, like, who I just said. Where is he? Okay, Spirit. Why do they want to depopulate the earth? Why do some people, want to depopulate the earth? Why do some people want to depopulate the earth? Why do some people want to depopulate the earth? I mean, these people, they already have everything. I don't know what, I guess they just don't want people who they look down on to be around. They don't even want to see those people, I guess. Or people, I don't know. Hmm. I just thought of something. Something just came to mind. I'm going to pull 3 cards. Wow. It's basically about them being able to control. And we have the 8 of Pentacles. I'm sorry, the 8 of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Tower. I feel like they don't want people, or as many people as they can tie up, um, keep in the dark, or get rid of, like you said. Um, it'll bring a brighter, it'll be a new day for them. Things will be better. So they don't mind this tower, because they want to shake things up so much that things change for the better for them. And I'm saying that because that Ace of Pentacles there, they're trying to restructure things. And it's in the middle of the chaos. So they don't care about the people, and they will bring the whole house down to get what they want, which is what's happening. Exactly what's happening. I'm not talking about the White House. I'm talking about, in his case, America. A few times, but I can tell the difference. Hmm. Well, the Wheel of Fortune just came out, jumped out. I think that's a good sign. I feel like things are going to get better. It's just going to take time. Uh, okay, so Christine, are some fires happening right now? I know California always burns, and we have nothing to do with Canada really. But are there some that's happening right now? Because I think he'll do anything to. And I guess China had a really big flooding recently, like today or yesterday or something. Water everywhere. I want to see where Muskrat is. See what's going on with him. Hmm. Muskrat. Okay, we have the Three of Swords. He's suffering. Karma has caught up with him. And we're going to get some news about it. Yeah. So, okay. We've always been hearing that he was sick. Or reading that something was wrong with him. So, is that coming to pass right now? Is he kind of having to be quiet? Okay, yeah. Everything he's done to his body, yeah. Yeah, I heard that it was not going to be good for China when everything was all said and done. It's like major. I'm just looking at this card, guys. The Nine of Pentacles jumped out as I was just kind of shuffling. I always think of this card as a woman because a woman is here and she has plenty. And I think maybe the tides will turn for women when this is all over with, you know. So he's trying to sell Starlink, huh? That's interesting that they're rejecting him, though. I guess because they know that once he gets what he wanted, he can use it against the people. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Think what I'll do. I'm going to do a reading on or I could ask the pendulum even. Since we're talking about women and their place in this world, this changing world. Show me yes. Thank you. Show me no. Thank you. Show me maybe. All right. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Is it true that women have purposely been moved out of their positions when it comes to employment? Yes. Thank you, Spirit. After in the next 2 years, will things be looking better when it comes for women and employment? Yes. Will women gain their status back when it comes to the workforce? Yes. So, yeah. I think once he's gone, because, he's taken everything away, or tried to, as much as possible. Okay, I see what you're saying. The world leaders talk, and they are quietly divesting from anything that has to do with America, including Muskrat. Wow. Now, see, that's going to be the hard part right there, guys. When everything is said and done, and the elections are all over, and we got to try to get back in with these other leaders and countries and be goods like not good, but be, because the United States is always doing something. You guys know that. But to be the leader that we used to be, will they accept us? That's what's going to take a minute. And I don't care who gets in there, because they're still going to be thinking, well, can we trust you because you let this happen before, So that could be a big problem. That's something that they're going to have to work on. And that's going to depend, guys, on who, I mean, I think we got a long time to go before we can really say so and so would probably end up being the president or anything like that. That person might not even be, we might not even know who that person is right now. I know we got certain people that we think um, may do it, but I don't know if that's, I think the closer it gets, I think there's opportunities for other people to jump in. Oh, you think that's the part that takes generations? We lost trust and respect. Yep. Gonna have to prove that we are not what's been going on. Yeah, because they just handed him everything. You just go ahead and do whatever you want to do and don't worry about a thing. I ask another question because we talked about this. I just want to ask directly. Our leaders, Spirit, our leaders trying to depopulate the earth? Are they trying to depopulate the earth? Ooh, I'm getting yes. Yes. Okay, I need to know why, Spirit. Is it because they only want their kind to be around? They only want to be around their kind, people like them. Yes. Do they understand that people like them may not be, that they may leave with the depopulation also? Do they understand that? No. Oh, so they think they got buffers to keep themselves going. They don't tell them what it is. Hmm. But we know that people like them they won't be around either. It's just like you try to hurt one group and the other group has to go too. You're not going to just save the group that you want to save because there's too many people in this world. Yep. So what else is happening out there, guys? You guys got a lot of good information about what's really going on. Those who think they are above being affected. The world thing about not realizing that the leopards will eat your face. All interconnected. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Okay. Let's hear it, Christine. It's okay. That is unpopular. It's okay. You're safe here. You can tell us. Oh, you think so? You think Jasmine Crockett is going to get caught up in the money? You know, they were saying something like that about her before. Is that a feeling that you have? See, we just don't never know. Or did you hear something? That's what I say. We're going to be, well, not really surprised because we, as this community, knows that it could be almost anybody, but um, most people would be surprised, you know, just a feeling, okay. Should we read on her? Do a 3-card spread. Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Because she lost her Senate seat, so she'll be gone. I guess come January, right? Tell us about Jasmine Crockett spirit. Jasmine Crockett. What's going on with Jasmine Crockett? What's going on with Jasmine Crockett? Well, we have the three of Pentacles here, which is about collaborations, working with other people, making deals, that kind of thing. Let's see what else comes out. My thing about that is I wouldn't put anything past any of them. That's my thing. I'm not going to be surprised when we hear this person, that person. I'm not going to be surprised at all. It kind of reminds you of Hollywood, right? Um, Judgment. It was in the reverse, though. And the reverse is talking about like self-doubt and um, lack of self-awareness. You don't get that with her, though. Let's see what else. One more. She's worried. You might be onto something, Christine. She's staying up nights worried about something. We'll have to see. It didn't come out all clean for her, like you would expect. So we'll have to see about that. All right, girls, guys, I'm gonna read the energy for the room. Maybe I'll read about what's coming up next week also. What can we look for to happen next week? Then I will read the energy for us. So are they moving back? They're leaving the United States? They're moving back to their people, or he's moving back to his people? Let's see what the energy is. Yeah, that's what I thought. So his father isn't doing that well, though. What's his name? King William? King Charles. Well, let's ask that question first. Is all right, Spirit. I'm gonna switch lanes. Why is Meghan and Harry moving back to the UK? Why are they married? One more. Wow. Wow, I can't believe this. They got it's four major arcana here. It's something big, whatever it is. We have the Sun card, exposure. They're trying to figure something out, or if they found something out, they're taking a risk. And it's about the timing, but there is some kind of manipulation going on too. Whatever this is something big, or they wouldn't be moving back. Four major arcana at one time? So what's been exposed? Let's see. Who's been manipulated? Let me see. There's been some investigations going on, and they were given an offer, and they're really not blindly going into this, but they're taking a risk. They're standing up for something. It's the reason they're going back, because they're standing up for something. And also, the king, his time is coming to an end, and I think they're trying to hang on to their place. And the legacy is in question. Their legacy is in question. That's the manipulation going on, is that their legacy is in question. That King of Pentacles, and so this is why they're moving back, guys. It has something to do, well, it's probably going to have something to do with the kids. He has kids, and I think they're hoping that things will be a certain way. They're standing up for who they are. I think it's for their children that they're doing this. I got this Six of Swords here. The man, the mother, and the child. And to me, that's them going back overseas. They're going back to the UK because of the legacy. This tells me legacy. But there's some manipulation going on, and maybe they have to be there to make sure that they don't get written out of everything, or their children. Because I don't think that, if you ask me, I don't think that Harry would be so upset if it were just him, but now he has that family and his children, and he wants them to have their rightful place in everything. Yeah, his dad has cancer. Word has it that Prince William is pissed that they are coming back. He hates Harry for marrying a black woman. Yeah, and see, they probably have got to make sure that they're, now that they have these children, that they get what they want, what they need. They can't, you can't let um, William just write them out of everything. They have black ancestry as far as I can remember. So I don't know what the big deal is, but hey, you know, that's how they feel. I don't know what makes them think that they are so much better. But whatever floats their boat is just fine with me. But I think that's why he's going back. He wants to make sure that his children get what they need, They know who they are, because he's not just any old, person. He's related to the family of, his mother was a queen. So, I mean, Father King. So his children have a right to that. And I think that's probably what they're going back for. And they probably just about have to make sure that William doesn't do anything stupid, because I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see if he's really upset. Got to ask the pendulum. All right, Spirit. Is William upset because Prince Harry is coming back to the UK? Oh, he is. Yes, he is. All right, Spirit. Is Prince Harry and Meghan going back to the UK to solidify their children's right to royalty? Is that why they're returning back? Yes. Okay. That's why. Yep. Yeah, well, we know that they treated her some kind of way when she was there. That's why she wanted to leave. So I'm not surprised about that part. But you know what's going to happen? His kids are going to grow up, and somebody's going to marry a black person. Okay? That just came to me. So he can be upset all he want to be. He cannot he cannot make decisions for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. That's fine. You're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. Okay. Let's look at what we have to look forward to for next week. What's coming up, Spirit? What is coming up for the week? Next week, what can we look forward to? What is happening? What is the energy around next week? All right. Wow, that's a bunch of them that fell out, Spirit. Well, let's look at it this way. It's almost get 3 more cards. Oh, thank you for being here, which I appreciate you. You show up every week, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I just did a 10 card spread on this one. It looks like somebody is moving away or moving towards something. We have the Eight of Cups crossed by. Um, the Nine of Wands. Um, to me, it looks like somebody is probably going to be locked up. That's what they're moving, but it's like it's being crossed by in some kind of imprisonment, or maybe somebody's moving out of prison or lockup or something next week. Um, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. They're either, it's some movement with somebody either going or coming out of a lockup situation. There is, then we have the Star. Somebody's hopeful. They're hopeful. But it's above that, we have the Four of Swords, which is about resting, taking it easy. And I think that the world is looking at this. Whatever this situation is something that gets to hold the world's attention. And it's like somebody has been behind bars. It's somebody that we haven't heard a lot about. I don't know why that's coming up. But the world's attention is going to be on it. There's a lot of collaboration going on right now to make this happen. I think people are worried about how to get it done. There is the Justice card is coming up. So this is going to balance out something. I don't know what it is. Something's going to be balanced out, and they've already they're right now they're planting the seeds. They're making this happen. We have the seven of Pentacles here. So there's some things in the background that's going on. Somebody next week we're going to hear about somebody. Are they going or coming? I think they're going to be let out. They're going to be let out. They're going to be let out. We have these two cards. We have the Eight of Cups and we have the Nine of Pentacles. So it's like it's coming to an end. So I feel like, and this card makes me feel like somebody's coming out. So somebody's going to walk out of some kind of confinement position. And the world is watching. So I don't know. They're worried about getting this done, but they think they have the strength to do it, and they're going to balance things out. So they're working on that. I don't even know what it is. I don't know who might be in prison right now that they want out of prison, or I don't know. You know, we never hear about these things until until they're over or whatever. But keep your eye out for that. I mean, if it doesn't happen next, it's gonna happen soon. I'll put it that way. That's the energy. Okay. Um, let's see the energy for us now, Spirit. Us that are in this room right now, Spirit. What's the energy around us right now? What is the energy around us right now, Spirit? Okay, I'll put them like this. And I'll pull three. Page of Wands, information coming. The Six of, that Six of Swords shows up again, and then the Fool. Is somebody going somewhere? Somebody going on a trip or something? Somebody in the chat, are you leaving, going on a trip or something? You're going to get some news about leaving. But you're going to have to decide if you really want to do it. If you're going somewhere, put in the chat maybe or something, so I'll know. You're not going on a trip, okay. Okay, so let me get an angel card. Get an angel card for us next. Get them all. Okay. All right. All right, Spirit, what do you want us to know right now? What do you want us to know right now, Spirit? What do you want us to know right now, Spirit? All right. Ruminate. Number 500. Is it worth the risk? It says your angels acknowledge that you are losing your patience. Your angels acknowledge that you're losing your patience with a situation that isn't changing. They're guarding you against decisions made on a whim. You don't have to force it to make it happen. Choose today. Give yourself time to ponder what you should do and rest. Reflect and perhaps journal on the feelings of dissatisfaction you have. What do they mean at the surface level, and how do they play into patterns of your past? Something to think about, guys. Do some journaling. Don't make rash decisions, but you do have to make a choice about something. Oh, Jeanette AC, she says she would love to go. Are you thinking about going somewhere, though? Maybe that's what's come up for you. Yep, definitely, definitely something to think about. Yeah, so don't make any rash decisions, but you can make a choice, but make sure you kind of take your time, journal, do that kind of thing. Thank you, Mary. Good night, everybody. Love and peace. Age of Aquarius, live long and prosper. I love that. Which, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Have a good evening.